So my name is Kevin Patel. Born and raised around here. Went to UTD, got my computer science degree, then I got my MBA. Got a little bit of a double E master's that I didn't finish. A little bit of independent research and guerrilla marketing. I would say PhD-ish level. Really involved in like student government and things. Used to like fight the good battles and get in trouble, but also like push things forward that need to get fixed all the time. Right out of undergrad, joined Nortel. First job, emergency recovery, wireless, wireline, carrier outages for countries, acts of war, acts of God or war. And then into software engineering, same department, but kind of doing the overnight baseline core network switch upgrades. Going from, I don't know if any of you are from like Nortel, but like X8 cores to like BSCs, or kind of moving from the giant racks that replaced the original switch operators to like virtualized legs and stuff like that. And then I don't know, I wakeboarded for a long time, became a ski bum, became a boat captain for a little bit, started doing art, doing light museums and such. And then COVID hit. The country had like 5 rapid prototype Make-a-Thons to go fight COVID, competed in 4 of them, won 3 of them, the national award 3 times. So yeah, that was my COVID, infectious disease. Built a bunch of different things. They were hosted by the VA, and they then one of them was we started building portable telehealth kits with dual LTE because we could never figure out which carrier would work. And there we go. Very good. Did that do?
That did. That works.
Yeah, got thrown on as the mobile device requirement on VA's telehealth program, Office of Connected Care. Patented the like only clinical portable telehealth case that doesn't have phone. Simple things, doesn't transfer disease between patients. And that program just got reawarded. It's about $2 billion. Got over 1 million cellular enabled devices in the field. Pretty much Apple and me. I pick up the hard use cases where like a single cellular iPad doesn't cut it. You know, I do more of the like custom, break apart a router and go fit it into this other piece of equipment, or build whatever needs to be done to get the job done, and really bridge the digital divide connectivity over there. And that's how I ended up getting into health IT, right? They're the largest consumer of health tech in the world. Pretty soon they're going to hit like $500 billion budget a year, right? Their IT budget's massive. Pivoted over, took some swings at it may not seem like connectivity, but suicide reduction. One of their like 20 portfolio companies for next decade. They put up like 20 million for a 2-month tech sprint, beat out 1,400 corporations. Now we're in this little cohort, but a lot of it wasn't connectivity with packets necessarily, but it was like there's no mental first aid. So it was like connecting people with that knowledge, or like it's okay to ask for help. So it was like literally rural areas out in the Arctic, like connecting them with messaging that works for long-term societal change. There's just different types of connecting. It didn't all have to be ones and zeros, right? And then moving on to the past year, started building the, as far as I know, the only fully integrated flat high performance Starlinks and quad 5G kits. Deployed those first ones in January. Also got access to Star Shield, which is like defense Starlink, and it's not geo-locked. So it works in everywhere. Now we're down to about 18 pounds. Dual 5G Starlink Mini was awarded not even half a year ago, like the Air Force Combat Comms R&D contract, so making their next model. And right now, I think we can hit about 800-900 megs VPN encryption speed on it. I bond 3 to 5, 6, however many number of connections. It comes with 3. So you have Starlink, Leo. They all have their downside, right? So my latest trademark is all the internets, because there's an Achilles tendon on each wireless one that we have right now, right? So you got your Leo. Well, that's great until you have a tree in the way or another tall building, or you're in a country that doesn't allow it. And until now, they were pretty big and they're super power hungry, right? That thing will blow through the battery 8 times faster. That big dish, like 320 watts. You know, the router, we're only taking 11 or 12 watts, but like they're taking up 30 times the power on the satellite dish. So you can't really make it battery power. Mini is a game changer. Then we have terrestrial LTE 5G as you guys know it. You know, what's the downside of that? 90% of the Earth isn't in range of a tower. So we need, it clicks all the other, it does all the other check marks. It works through walls, indoors, great for interference, low cost, super fast. But yeah, the coverage lacks. And then you have Space LT. We just got the first SATs up. SpaceX has direct to cell. They got the first ones up, I'm gonna say in February. It's really what that Starship was meant for. It's the only way they could get enough cell phone towers in space, those big payloads, right? And it's for that and dropping payloads down to like $10 a kilogram to put up there instead of like 2,000 right now, or 70,000 as it was like, I don't know, 15, 16 years ago. I am a systems integrator, right? So I have a couple projects, sub on some other ones, and I try to keep it simple. I don't really argue on what the best internet is. My strategy is always just like, I'm cramming them all damn in there at the same time. And hopefully one of them works, right? I do pretty like high-end niche projects. I don't worry about cost savings or practicality. It's what is the art of possible? And yeah, I own a R&D lab over at UTD. Any questions so far on this thing before I go? Yeah.
Do you sell that as a capital purchase, or do you do it like as a network as a service? All the above, or how would you deploy that box?
I do everything as a service, or I can sell just the hardware, but I tend not to, because then I just get a bunch of questions and annoy customers if we're not, it's like, oh, I need my FirstNet data plan, I need my Verizon data plan, I need my T-Mobile, oh, I don't have this fixed cost. Like, I offer everything as a service domestic, or everything as a service global with unlimited, unthrottled global roaming. on LTE. Like, that's it. I'm not going to watch your bandwidth. I'm not going to count like how many megs you use or not. I'm not really set up for that, nor do I want to get into it.
So can they tap into that and do, so I'm a telco guy too, right? And so when you have that and you have the internets, you also need to kind of have an OSS kind of, so you see what's what and how how it's working, green lights, red lights, that kind of thing. Who does that? Do you do that or does the customer do that?
Yeah, no, they don't have to watch. I mean, they could go look at it if they want. They can log in, see their fleet, right? See their locations and stuff. Okay. Yeah, automatic alerts, reporting, logs. Anything else on this so far?
Can you switch between those connections pretty
There's no
readily?
switching. I only deal with packet level bonding. I don't do like session load balancing or switching. They're all always on. Like, even if you flip up and down, like unplug the network cables, unplug the dishes, turn off the cellular, then turn off the dish, go back and forth, as long as one of them is up at any given time, the sessions don't drop and they don't reconnect. They don't have to move over, right? So you establish a VPN tunnel and all the WANs are encapsulated inside of it, so they can be freely moved in and out, right?
Is it self-healing?
Like if you want to dig into it on a hobby level, there's some open source packages like what's one? Open TCP/IP, Omni, what is it? I'm sure you can find it in like 2 seconds.
Is the typical user plugging a computer into your thing, into your capability? Is that the typical?
No, they use it like an overgrown Wi-Fi hotspot.
Okay.
Right? And then they pull up their phone and they see if it works.
So it's a network in a box, kind of.
Yeah.
So is the VPN from the router here back to a server that you're running, or a router you're running somewhere back here in
yeah, we can run it in our rack somewhere.
Huh?
In our own data centers or their data centers, or we can just fire it up in a virtual machine in the cloud somewhere, right? But yeah, you can't do multi-path bonding without like another device on the other end that knows how to put it back together. But if you're going to go back to one path, you want it in a data center or something with, you don't have to worry about packet loss at that point, right? It's like, but it also helps because that way, in wireless, right? It's most people dress up their like 800-pound elephant and say it's a ballerina. When the wireline guys and companies try to say they made a wireless router, that's usually what you're getting, right? From its core, it was designed in a world where it didn't have to think about packets coming in a different order than it was sent in, or losing them, or getting reflected, stuff like that, right? So, but yeah, that's the latest thing right there.
So from a customer perspective, there was some on LinkedIn about a contract right? The VA.
Yeah.
And
so
is that like your typical customer, or whatever, is a government institution, a government organization?
Yeah. Like veterans of my typical customer is veterans or veterans health or military health or now defense.
Okay. So they're going out somewhere that is remote a lot of times. And
Remote, austere, anywhere in the world.
they need connectivity, so anywhere in the world.
Land or water,
Uh-huh.
any condition. Those are the requirements, so. I mean, everyone's seen networks in a box. I wouldn't get the other ones wet. There's a, I know that's a real reason the Navy likes my cases. Like, most people don't build good things, right? I think I make the nicest in a box, or the box itself, like the packaging,
So it's like
Like
a
the
mil,
rest of them are
so it's
kind
like
of
a mil spec box.
right?
And it's gonna
Yeah, I'm getting some other injection molded made for this one. That's just a little bit of a stopgap because probably got there 8-7 months on the one I want, right? But I tend to like get a problem and in a week or two make the product and ship it out, right? I think a lot of other companies take 2 or 3 years.
Does the Starlink work through that? How much attenuation does the lid provide if you got the lid shut?
A lot less without that metal tag there. But yeah, that's why I made that one where the lid flips open,
Okay.
right?
So it
It's
will work
not-
with it will work with the lid shut?
For a few minutes
Okay.
until you overheat.
Can you lift the lid for a second so we can see it?
Yeah.
And
So it's typically static, or can you like mount it on the vehicle and it'll keep connecting to whatever's available?
yeah, you can. You can strap it on top of the vehicle. But we also, okay, I think this is what you're asking for. So, a couple months ago, one of 3 spots, there were 2 large and 1 small spot on VA's $40 million 5-year Starlink pilot. That's for a small portion, like trial of them. Won that full and open competition and won 100% of the first task order, 1 3/4 mil. It's mostly for my equipment, and then we're gonna gear up like 19 mobile clinics or vehicles real quick, and in our 3 facilities. So I don't even think we make a product. Like, so stop looking at the hardware. Really, I'm a prime systems integrator, so we solve problems. You have a problem with connectivity? Okay, that means we custom tailor it for the vehicles, and we're doing, 3D maps of the towers and terrain and obstructions. And I'm putting in like marine antennas that go 40 kilometers, right? And each build is different. It's different than the equipment we put on a vehicle. Like the dish is going to be 4 times bigger, and it's going to be made for like hurricane level winds. Not putting that many on top of the car. People are going to get the small go kit, right? We just did some oil and gas shows. If it's going to people that are sick, well, then it's gonna be made more for infectious disease. It might come with some medical products. If it's indoor coverage, like the Wi-Fi sucks, you go around a corner, you get it sometimes here, not there. Like, I'll start wiring up the stands or the compute carts, or the MRI room is lead walled, so we will like pump God knows how many LTE and satellite connections in there. It's custom tailored, very bespoke, right? I wouldn't say anything made is like usually the same.
So this is just one example of many.
Yeah, that is just a byproduct of me solving a problem, a need for connectivity and broadband. where people don't get it. It's up to me to choose the right one for them. I would be here all day if like everyone that needed internet, if I had to explain to them and like teach them wireless. Right? Yeah, they don't need to know what a ground plane is or like the Fresnel curves or levels or zones or whatever, right?
So that's why you looked at me so strange when I talked about OSS, because you're like, who cares? They just want connectivity.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is.
I get it.
Yeah, they don't. If you're sitting in this room, you're evangelistic a little bit about internet or wireless or whatever it is, right? Those people are busy. They're either like, there's either someone, most of the stuff I build, it's because someone's dying that day, right? It's like, we got to get care to a veteran at home and they like living on the sticks, so we got to bring it with us. Or it's now battlefield medicine, like, what's this? I just turned this in. We'll see January. If we get this, this is the next one. We have 10-foot, like, C4IT containers. And for the battlefield, get wounded off, right? And bring all sorts of like little mini IT and data centers with them. These guys don't give a shit. They just need internet when like that thing is happening. They don't care about the details or how it got there or how much money someone threw at it to get it there. But you know what? When they turn it on, they're gonna be pissed if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't get to have those cute excuses like, oh, it got wet. Oh, we dropped it and now it doesn't work because it's fragile. Like, okay, some people do drop tests, throw yours at the ceiling. You know, some people do their little IP, whatever, or metal thing that's cute. Okay, go do a cannonball with it. Try swimming underwater while like it has air in it and it's fighting its way back up. Like, go put some dumbbells on it, chain it, go drop it down the lake. Do whatever you have to, right? A lot of people, yeah. And go ahead.
So hypothetical, you go put this in a situation in the Mojave Desert. Do you have to go out there and customize that thing, or do you just ship it out to them and they're astute enough to set it up?
I don't know, we haven't got there yet.
Okay.
So I think I listened to Starlink, but on the mobile side, right? If someone says I need a global offering on the mobile side, you go to a carrier that has a global offering for, like, I think you had FirstNet and Verizon and AT&T up there. Those are the people you're contracting with to provide you worldwide service.
I consume data from like just all the telecoms.
So you service with all of them. Like, I mean, like in the US, it's not just you have a deal with AT&T. You have a deal with AT&T and T-Mobile.
Yeah, I have a FirstNet Foundation. AT&T, I think, you know, the head of all of IoT for FirstNet, you know, been working with him the last couple days. I am Verizon's first government-wide partner. They created a new program for me, so I'm allowed to supply like any government instead of like authorizations for each one. You know, Starlink, Starshield, you know, either sub for or they sub for me, the largest providers of sat data to USG in the world, or
On the other side, like the data center side, you have your own data center, you use like Azure Government Data Center, or
I'll use Azure, you know, or AWS or GCP, right?
So do you bring in their service, or do you buy up minutes and you're an MVNO? You know, you're buying up capacity that you're delivering as your
No,
company?
I'm just a consumer. Like, I don't.
So you're bringing Verizon in, you know, if they choose to go 5G or 4G, it would be
They don't have
Verizon or AT&T or
They
something.
don't have they don't have a choice. But, I buy every possible internet everywhere. And I cram them into a box simultaneously. And whichever one, and then I aggregate them all together locally. It's not very complicated.
But if you go overseas, you've got to roam.
Then I pay unlimited whatever those roamings are.
Yeah.
Right?
But you pay it through the US carrier. You don't do contracts with international carriers. You say, AT&T, T-Mobile, whatever, I only need your international service. So when I go abroad, the bill comes through for the Q3 goes.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I've been doing trials for like Space Force, NATO exercises, and a few of them in Europe in the last year, Germany, France. I went down to Colombia with all the Latin Space Forces this year, right? We have Tigo, Movie Star, Claro. I bought all of them. I mean, I just switched my phone, but I had all 4 Colombian cell phone carriers. And you know what? One of them is going to work in all the South American and Central companies, right? And I may do it more by continent, right? And now with the advances in like eSIMs and remote SIMs, I can roam at a few kilobits per second anywhere in the world on like a US SIM and then switch it out for a local SIM or at least a regional based on geolocation that isn't going to be throttled or have that cost, right? So there's a lot of tricks with SIMs and data plans, but as long as I get a little connection somewhere, then we'll figure out how to, get the right data plan on that piece of equipment wherever it is to speed it up.
And is the customer, the end customer is shielded from all that stuff. They don't give a crap. They just want to know that
No,
the
why do
internet
they
is up,
care?
and all that stuff stops with you.
They do a speed test or they try to access a website or like an application, right?
And it works and they go, fantastic, I'll take one.
They don't even say fantastic, right? Mm-hmm. Most of the time you've run into them in a conference and they're just like, they'll tell you a cool story of when it worked, right? But usually if things are good, you're not getting that many calls. Mm-hmm. But you'll find out like they'll share it with their boss every year and you'll just like end up one level higher.
Do you put all this together as manufacturing here?
Yeah.
Okay. In Texas?
In my hands, in my
Like down the road in my garage?
or over at UTD, but it's a pretty cool garage. For like, I mean, it technically, I guess, like privately owned space in a state research and development office. COVID was kind of funny. We were building things to help. Everyone was just standing up like, how can we support that, right? And gotta love Texas. They see something cool, they're like, all right, they don't need a reason. They have to help, right? Just like, all right, let's do this. So, yeah, they built out part of the building for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so more like, let's see. This isn't in order, but I mean, started out, we were making PPE and like rundown warehouses with friends, and things were condemned, and you know, now it's like white lab coat and medical government facility. So kind of that journey in a few years, right?
Which do you like more?
The parties are better in South Dallas by Riverfront and the tacos.
But you kept the hair.
But I had this way before COVID.
So what is there a 5-year vision in your mind of where you're going to be, or what you're going to run into, or take it as it comes, or what's the long term or longer term, I should say?
Right? Keep making stuff that works. I don't have anything else to do that I enjoy.
How many people in the company?
I got a bunch of like subcontractors or other companies that work. I got like 3 part-time, and then I'm full-time, right? So
so you're CEO, head of sales,
janitor,
head of HR, head of everything.
yeah, I'm both the highest and lowest on the totem pole.
Yeah, that's fun.
But but it's kind of cool. Every time I've been going up against big dogs, I keep been doing a lot of winning.
Yeah.
Lately.
Why do you think that is? Why are you the winner of a lot of these things?
Oh, because I'm fast and smart, and I build better things. Like, I am also competitive. I usually will like outdo their product in a week or 2, then they will in years, and just stay a few years ahead of it. It doesn't help not being an idiot, because I find like a lot of people in sales and marketing aren't that smart sometimes on what they're selling, and then they can't deliver. So
Larger
the
company.
personality of a salesman, the charm of a founder, the intellect of a UTD comment nerd, and just good at making stuff. So what I mean by competitive is during these COVID projects, you only got a week to rapid prototype something. Everyone would turn in a slide deck. I would turn in physical MVPs that work when all the stores are closed, and like go bribe people to unlock stores, right? That kind of competitive. Like, here's the football field and the game you're playing. I decided to kick the ball across and, let it go land in the Rangers stadium. That's the kind of, I don't want to leave like a possibility of even being judged on the same grading scale or category, right? And at that point, most of your employees at another company, they don't have, I also burned all the bridges behind me, right? So it's homelessness or success. And bankruptcy, right? They're not comfortable. Most people have family, kids, they can't take those risks that I can. I'm comfortable with a like 1% chance of succeeding, 99% homeless. I've been through worse. Like, wouldn't be too bad for me. And yeah, at that level, in like a little department trying to go after an RFP or write a proposal or outshine that, it doesn't matter how many corporate resources they have behind them, they can't beat that. Like, so I have to outdo them and then go so much farther that whatever billion-dollar company they have behind them just can't compete. The only thing they can usually do is complain and whine and try to monopolize the customer's time. Because like, I don't have time to talk about my feelings and cry with them because I'm too busy executing, right? But yeah.
So back to this guy. How long will this run on battery? I assume it's.
Like
So.
with the Starlink off, like 24 hours. With the Starlink on, like, I don't know, maybe 2.5, 3.
Okay.
Right? Draw about 11, 12 watts on cellular and routing and like up max 60 on the mini, but probably average around 40, 45 in there. It also depends, like, hey, do we have a strong signal? If so, it's going to eat up a lot less power. If not, it's going to yell louder and transmit more to try to get there, right? All right, guys. Who's next?
For a solution out there with the customer, based on what we just said about power and having to charge this thing back up, the customers deploy a couple of these, right? So they have one active, and then when you're charging, you deploy another one, or how does that work?
It can run continuously. That one, I put a PC cord on the back for AC, and I put USB-C on the front.
Okay, so you can plug this in and go forever.
You do a battery.
Yeah,
Your source now.
right.
But you're saying customer, I think the customer, probably all cases is the government or a division of government, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't for a commercial application. It's for, sort of one-offs for the government.
You said oil and gas ships earlier.
Yeah, but I didn't do I mean, a lot of it's applicable to different. I just haven't gone after everyone,
Right.
even if they're low hanging fruit, because I don't want to get spread too thin. I'd rather have less customers that are happy than all of them pissed off at me at the same time.
Right.
Right? I mean, I tried to fight COVID one year, picked up the largest health IT entity consumer in the world. Took me like a year or two to get my hands around it, then go try to solve suicide, and then picked up most of the defense departments all within the last year. I mean, those are big enough lifts for like 1 year, right? I was in maybe I should just go solve oil and gas or FEMA while I'm at it, or this, right? I'm just kind of playing my slow and steady game.
So do you have any odd, let's say, or stringent security requirements for this?
Yeah, they're different. Well, pretty much always use VPN. You have NIST 800-171-171 security controls. Now you have this CMMC 2.0 for manufacturers, which is like a superset of it. Then you have FIPS 140-2 encryption. And then you have the NIST classified sort of solution products that are on there, but that's not an authoritative list anymore, because now you have these CSFC commercial solutions for classified programs where you could run secret or IL6 top secret on equipment without plugging in a hardware type 1 encoder. That stuff's pretty much just applicable to DoD. And yeah, I mean, and then you have your FedRAMP certifications, which low, moderate, or medium, and then high, like 3 different levels. Yesterday was whole discussions about FedRAMP and VA happens to be the largest sponsor of FedRAMP in USG, actually. Funny enough, but yeah, there's enough stuff going on there to where let's just say I have 4 different Microsoft tenants. It's kind of a pain.
What's the actual use case for that blue box right there?
Oh, emergency deployables so VA is broken it has 4 parts or missions.
Yep.
Veterans Affairs. So you have the first one most vets find out about is benefits, VBA. Because they want what they're entitled to and they're coming out and hopefully they're healthy. Hopefully they're not disabled or have some injuries or something. And then they find out about Veterans Health Administration, VHA. That's the healthcare part. Most, I think, civilians, how they think of the VA. And then they have cemeteries and burials. And then one that most people don't know, their 4th mission is disaster and emergency response. So they're the overflow healthcare system when the public and private hospitals can't handle it, they overflow to them. And also when FEMA or other people get overrun, they pick up the slack. They do about 200 global deployments a year. They're really, really big. Each time zone, they have like different NOCs or centers. And they also do the international deployments, all the islands like Puerto Rico, Guam, whatever, Hawaii. So this project started out because of Lahaina. They called me and we melted all the fiber optic cable underneath and stuff like that. So I made a solution for the flat high performance Starlinks and Quad 5G because it's going to take years for them to rerun the fiber optic cables underground and stuff like that. That way, maybe they can have like a community hotspot for the neighborhood while they were getting the infrastructure rebuilt, right? But these are emergency deployables, right? So, train chemical wreck in Florida, hurricanes starts, in North Carolina. That's what these are made for. They go to all of those. And
So it's kind of made for like a few days, a week, a month, a year, right?
it's made for a continuous run whenever. It's made for whenever you press a button, you get internet. That's what it's made
For
for.
as long as you
It's
want.
also made to be highly transportable. Right? That's it. So it fits in the overhead bin of an airline. Any commercial airline, it fits the overhead bin.
It's like a puck on steroids.
Hmm?
Like a puck on steroids.
A what?
You know those?
Oh, a puck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're Navy?
No.
Okay. Well, you could kind of tell that like every branch calls them a little bit different.
Yeah.
And Navy will say pucks.
Yep.
Or I believe Wisconsiners. I think those are the only two. But it's made for airline checker carry. Right? Anyone else know like airline check and carry with the battery that can do like actually has built in 3 different types of internet, and you can also like hook up a Milsat or whatever extras laying around while you're at it? Well, yeah, they didn't either.
Have you ever taken that through like, a commercial airport though? I mean,
That one, yeah, maybe like 10 times.
Really?
I've taken way wonkier looking stuff.
They don't take it
They're like
when you go through?
so homemade, wiry, like brown terrorist looking. right?
So how does that go with TSA?
Yeah, I mean,
No, it's usually not a problem.
Oh,
They-
the blue glove.
They always let the bomb-looking thing go through, and they pull out the backpack with the bottle of water. That's when you gotta watch out for it. It's the liquids that'll get you every time.
So they open that up and go, oh, rebonded networks, fantastic.
Yeah.
Off you go.
Oh, yeah, move on.
No, they've never even checked. I've gone to the airport. I take about 100, think, at over 100, it's pretty much been around 100, 120 flights a year. And they've never checked one of those things once.
Well,
Do
They
you,
find my damn
is
water
that
bottle.
is carry-on, you're not checking it. You're doing
Either
carry-on.
one.
Huh?
Either one. Well, because every
Okay.
now and then you'll find you'll find in a check-in attendant, and she won't know the rules on batteries, and she'll force you to carry it or force you to check it. But depending on the logo on it, I can get away with different rules too. Right? So it says Veterans Health or it says Navy Medicine. Well, now it's medical equipment. I don't even have to do the 2 limit carry-on. I don't even have to count it. Or if it says something else. Plus, I also just, this is just a personal assumption. There's no fact to it, but I also think federal employees might be scared of the paperwork of confiscating another agency's equipment.
Oh.
I don't want to.
Hate
I
that
don't want to
paperwork.
confiscate this thing from the Defense Department. I'll never get done with this paperwork.
Yeah.
They're just scared of each other more than Al Qaeda, I guess.
or just this is more work,
Yeah.
more paperwork here. Take your bag.
Well, you can believe on human stacked a certain way, right? You can trust that. But yeah, also pretty excited. Our building, 90% of it's being rebuilt right now. Right? Only the orange part isn't changing. The rest of it was just gutted within the last 2 or 3 weeks. And a few months ago, UTD got $30 million for 5 years to become the battery campus for the Pentagon. So
Really?
on-site, custom shape, custom chemistries, low volume runs 50 to 150 or 200, say quantity, on-site from raw material to working battery packs, not just cells. So the management systems, controllers, that too. And then this is circuit boards and electronics made for space or military harsh environments. They're actually installing a gamma emitter, with 6 foot
Radiation.
lead and concrete walls, 10 yards from where I work. Yes, but those things will hit you from here, from over at YouTube. They just go through everything. Now hopefully they don't kill me, but they're artificially aging circuit boards and find out where failures are and different things. And then I do the communications and health IT. Right? So I think my product building game, hopefully it'll be one nice little synergistic building where we built some really some battle hardened stuff, right? In between hopefully the best batteries, the toughest circuit boards, and the best comms, or the nicest case cobbler, handcrafter, right? Yeah, I think really, I don't know anyone making stuff to this level, but I'm excited to see where it goes or how much it can progress.
I've seen some pretty cool battery tech that kind of takes the shape of a container, or you can actually make it into the container,
Yeah,
and
send it to me.
you can shoot a gun, shoot a bullet through it, and it'll still work.
I'd love to see it. If you could send it.
I will.
Mhm.
Small startup, I was on, I was pitching to government, so they have these calls where you kind of go through, each company has about 12 seconds to pitch, and they talk through kind of what they're doing. It was some really cool stuff. I think I was in Virginia. I'll dig it up, and if you want, I can
Yeah.
send it to you. That's kind of what I figured was going in next to you.
No, what's going in next to me is a way for the country to de-risk startups. And we can build a whole battery industry around it, because we don't have those kind of manufacturing domestic capabilities, right? And what's stopping it? That's what UTD does. They provide a safe, that's what they do that the other universities don't really. They provide a safe space for startups to fail safely, right? Like, oh, you're gonna make a COVID startup? Good luck surviving and having money in 2 years when it dries out, right? It's less than a 1% success, right? Most people are inherently good. It's exciting. It's to have a startup. It's, intoxicating, but they don't want to risk their family and homelessness. And like, after they find out it doesn't work, they'd be stuck in a 5-year lease and just keep getting kicked when you're down for the next whatever years. They love their own family and safety more than they do like wanting to put a dent in a problem and like help everyone out. Unless it's like super, super traumatic for why they're doing it. But, they do month to month, utilities included, and just drop off the keys, leave, right? Same thing they're doing with battery startups. There are all these scientists, they have to raise all this money because they have to build out all these fancy machines and laboratories. It's very expensive to make batteries, but they just need like 40 or 50 of them to prove it out. They don't necessarily need to build a whole factory. So they could just say like, here's our formula, here's our chemistry. Can you build 50 of them for us so we can see if it's a bust or not? The batteries might cost like twice as much as, retail or something like that. But, they could go try it out for 50 or 100 grand, right? Do a small production run.
So in that type of situation, UTD would provide them with the space.
No,
But as you described, would they also make an investment in the business too, or is it just a good deal on the space?
The VDC is a program for alumni and faculty, and they don't necessarily do direct investments. You can win the like startup competition each year called the Big Idea, and get cash that way. But a lot of it's intangible. They can work with you in different ways. Like they can kick down doors, get you where you need to go, make some intros, write letters of support, right? So as like a garage inventor, you go try winning without previous performance a giant federal government contract. Good luck. They feel a lot more comfortable if there's a letter from Texas saying we're going to support them and take care of the facilities and watch them and do that, right? So
is it only UTD alumni have access to this, or is it just better if you're a UTD alumni?
It's almost always alumni and faculty.
Sure.
I won't say that they haven't done it before. I know like one company, maybe. COVID was weird.
Right.
I don't think they have hard rules, but anyone else got questions on Internet of Things? We could put LoRaWAN in them.
Can you give an address, how people can reach you? One of the people people here is asking in the chat to give your contact information.
KevinPatel.com.
KevinPatel.com. Okay.
Yep.
Haven't had.
So
It also is. That'll work.
can you add
too.
that to the chat?
But no, that's my V card. That's scrapbook, some links to some fun stuff.
You're on
And,
LinkedIn as well, aren't you?
yeah, and the LinkedIn link is there too. It's yeah, whatever you want. You want to put the contact in your phone, you want LinkedIn, you want to see a couple cool articles or pictures, it's all there. So, and I don't know, as my life changes wherever I end up, hopefully people remember that internet landmark if they want to find me.
Yeah, KevinPatel.com is pretty straightforward.
Kevin Patel doesn't have. So call him the .com list Kevin Patel. We need to give it